Okay. Hello, everyone. I have a couple of things to talk about. Uh, a couple of news events that are happening here. The discussion vlog that I want to talk about. One, the partial decision for p.diddy. And you know what that case is all about. So the jurors made a partial decision, meaning they came to a conclusion on 4 of the accounts, except count 1. Count 1 involves the racketeering charge. Okay, so just to bring us up to speed, maybe perhaps some of us don't know what racketeering means. The definition of racketeering is count 1 of the charges on P. Diddy broadly encompasses various criminal acts, typically involving extortion of fraud, organized to extract illegal profits. The term racket refers to schemes that generate income through illegal means. Under the RICO Act, RICO, racketeering includes a wide range of offenses, such as bribery, fraud, money laundering, and even violent crimes like murder and kidnapping. So here's the legal framework of the RICO Act. And then while listening to this, and I'll come back at it, you can decide what you think. And I'm going to tell you kind of what I think. I don't like P. Diddy, especially after all the things that I've seen. I've never really been a fan, and kind of turned off that music. But I did like the music, but after hearing this, so the racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations, that's called the RICO Act, was enacted in 1970. The common examples of racketeering include protection rackets, criminal organizations that offer protection to businesses from threats or vandalism, often creating the very threats they claim to protect against. Drug trafficking involves the illegal production and distribution of controlled substances. Cyber extortion, hackers may demand payment to restore access to compromised data or systems. Human trafficking, organized groups may engage in illegal trade of people for forced labor or sexual exploitation. Racketeering charges can lead to severe penalties, including lengthy prison sentences, hefty fines, and the forfeiture of assets gained through illegal activities. The RICO Act also allows victims of racketeering to pursue civil lawsuits for damages, potentially recovering 3 times of their actual losses. Racketeering charges represent a serious legal issue, targeting organized crime and the complex networks that facilitate illegal activities. Also, individuals. Okay. Understanding the implications of these charges is crucial for recognizing the broader impact of organized crime on society and the legal system. Here's why I say I believe, and the jury is having a problem with this on coming into a conclusion or a decision with, while deliberating, what they're going to say the verdict is on count 1, which is RICO charges, racketeering. Because all the text messages showed the girls agreed, okay? And a lot of people, whoever they are, even in maybe marriages and things like that, the influence is money, all right? So you think about it. If you have a fear or you have whatever, sometimes people stay because of money. And it's sad to say, but sometimes, and this is so very true, people don't care if they get the shit beat out of them. Or if I'm not saying these girls aren't a victim, because whatever the case, they're a victim. If you ask me, everybody's a victim here. If you listen to everything, although some people you may not appreciate and like what they did, like Diddy, but if you listen to the way he grew up and the kind of parties his mother had, and if you'll look that up, the kind of parties his mother had, you would see the influence in all this lies. And at one point it was said when he was beating one of the girls, he turned to his mother and said, "I love you, mommy." I mean, what kind of sick shit is that? Okay. But we're look at everything here. And there's a lot of victims here. And I didn't say that gives him the right to put it on someone else, because that's just as awful. But there's a lot of victimization here. But if you're really victim, and you ask yourself this, why would you agree to it? If your boss came up to you today, and your boss told you were working today, you say, yeah, I know I'm working today. But your boss say, you're working today, you may work tomorrow. I'm not going to pay you nothing. I mean, and maybe your boss takes something and chuck you in the knee too while he's at it. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, besides, you might want to throw him one, put hands on him. I don't know. Because, but what are you going to do? The best thing you're going to do is say, oh, no, hell no. Bye. You're going to quit, right? That's what's the right thing to do. And even if you have to hide out and get away or whatever, right? But you don't agree with him. I would find it 99% difficult to even talk to someone. There was a lady who just mentioned the other day that she had a friend whose husband used her girlfriend. They were friends forever, but whose husband used that friend to be with other guys. And he would love watching. And the wife obliged to it. And then later on in life, she got really sick and she died of AIDS because he lent his wife to whoever, and they did what they did with her, took advantage. And, you are allowed what happens to your body. If something happened to you against your will, that's different. Like if you were just ambushed or something, that's different. But if you have the ability to get away at any point and never come back, and certainly not write that you are in agreement with it, you sure in the hell don't write that, then how can you say it's racketeering? Okay? And if anything, I am totally against abuse. I'm totally against that. That's awful. But one thing for sure, and I pray for these girls, and, like I said, I have to pray for everyone. I'm looking at all victims. I also pray for Diddy, but I wouldn't appreciate with him. I wouldn't be a friend of him. I'm not buying nothing from him no more. I'm not listening to music. But I'm just looking at this whole situation. It can't be considered racketeering, okay? Racketeering is pretty much if you take someone off the street, put them in a situation, maybe you chain them or whatever, and force them. You saw those trafficking stories. I can't even go into it. It makes me so sick. There's this movie I watched, and I'm telling you, I threw up after watching it. I'm not kidding you. It started, I think it's Mia Serrano. I can't remember her name. She's a fascinating actress, and she did great in this, but the movie was too damn real. Mia Serrano, I think that was her name. She starred in A Friend with, there's this lady that started, you guys know who I'm talking about, Lisa Kudrow. I think that's who she starred in a movie with. There was two of them, and they were acting like best friends or something, and they grew, I don't know, you guys can look it up. But she played in this movie, and it was totally, totally ill will. I watched it, and I had to throw up. That's what you call racketeering, okay? That's racketeering. This right here, I'm telling you, you got someone, if someone smacked you behind, a dude, okay? Smacked you in the behind. Let me tell you a personal story of this right here. You were by yourself. You weren't with anyone by then. But you, I just telling you, he didn't get away with it. I'll put it like that. Okay? That's not racketeering, but that's being you pissed off. Like, who the hell, he didn't get away with it. I'll just put it like that. He lived, but he didn't get away with it. But I certainly say, yeah, do that. Hey, tonight? Maybe not tomorrow, but what about tonight? No, hell no. So that's in that case. Jury has not found anything with anything right now. They went home. They came back out. They went back in and came back out in the judge. And then the judge said, okay, go back and deliberate. They said, no, we're done for the day. So they have a partial verdict. On 4, and that first account, RICO, nothing. So maybe we'll hear something tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to take a break on the 3rd, which is right before the 4th of July holiday. But they'll be back tomorrow. So maybe we'll hear something tomorrow. Next story. I won't stay on this too long. Elon Musk. Trump says, I'll look into deporting him. Okay, that's one. Elon Musk calls them the big fat porkers or piggy wickle or something. I don't know. The Republican Party. The porker workers or something. The piggyback fat. Something. Okay, that's second. And he said, I'll refrain for now after Trump was talking about deporting him. With my comeback, I will refrain for now. That's what Elon Musk said. Now, Elon Musk is upset because in this bill, Trump cuts a lot of the EV credits, and that's like the majority of his business. So basically, all of the EV credits uh, that you guys know about, like car credits and all that stuff, Tesla, whatever, doesn't exist anymore. Even not just for the cars. I think he owns the Starlink and all this other stuff that has something to do with a lot of things electrical. And basically, he survived off the backbone of all those contracts and all that money that the government was giving him. So you would truly see his billionaire status go down to significantly. Okay, he would not be the richest man in the world anymore or whatever. And that's why, because it sure isn't because you're cutting children's food. This is terrible. On this BS bill, that's what I call it, that could die, are cutting babies' Medicaids that use feeders and premature babies' Medicaids, people in wheelchairs that maybe, say, for instance, your neighbors had an accident. Someone brought a good point of this, and they needed to use Medicare because they couldn't pay for it to go to the doctor to recuperate, or they're just disabled right now. And although they're not officially disabled, receiving their income from Social Security, they are still American, who is just baffling the medical bill system of how they're going to pay something. So they use Medicare. Well, they won't have that anymore. Or there's a whole bunch of scenarios that fall into that. Are food stamps, to say, for instance, if you're getting food stamps, I think it's a 25% to 30% cut, 300 million. So if you're getting food stamps for about 300 and you have children, they're going to cut it to somewhere like I think it's 25 to 30%. So 300, they might go low down to like 270 or lower than that. They also there's a lot of things in this bill that's just, quite frankly, very scary and horrible for any American that's struggling right now. And back to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is coming back saying, I'm going to this fight that's reignited between him and Trump. Elon Musk is coming back and saying, I'm going to do this to excuse me, phone notification. I'm going to do this to combat the Republican Party and Trump. He's changing his tune because a lot of what happened prior to the settlement he had basically ruined his company or companies. People seeing what they saw with him and the settlement he supposedly had in this buddy system with the Republican Party and with Trump. And it looks like that is severely soured with all the new things that are coming out and what's being said between Trump and him as they fight. So this is a continuance that's going to continue to happen. We'll keep up to date. We're seeing what's going on. But it sounds like Elon Musk is trying to turn the tables because, honestly, this is what I see. because of what destruction, sort of like a self-destruction that he made upon himself by being so strongly convicted at first with these Republicans and with Donald Trump. And now it looks like a big regret. So he's trying to turn it around, but I didn't say it's too late. I don't really trust, I don't really trust God. To let you know, the Senate bill, this BS bill passed the Senate, but it still has to go through Democrats to pass. So it was a couple of Democrats that gave the vote with the Senate to help pass the bill, but it still has to go through them to officially pass the entire bill. So it hasn't, just so we won't get confused. I believe, I don't really follow politics too much, but I get in the news to talk about what's going on because it is important to everybody. But I believe it has not passed the second half of that, only the first. So it has to pass both to become law, to become active. Okay, so I do thank you for listening, and until next time, have a great day.